Hey everybody, it's Grant, and today we're going to be diving in to the Iced Coffee Hours interview with Dave Ramsey. I've watched the entire interview. I'm going to show you the best parts of it that I found in this corner. 32-year-old real estate investor ready to take on the 62-year-old real estate king, both financial gurus in their own respect. Ding ding, let's go. The first clip that I actually want to watch is this one where I actually talk about this pretty good on the interview. Link in the description below for the entire Iced Coffee Hour video, which is pretty solid. But how much does Dave Ramsey actually work? I will say this was my favorite Iced Coffee Hour setup that we've seen. Like, I know it's at Dave's place in this dark room, and but it looks good. Like this looks like my future set, right? Just saying. Maybe some lights or something here and there.
Just helping people. How do you divvy that up? Do you have
hardest time was the early days, because we didn't have the help, and we were trying to get the critical mass of the business moving, trying to make payroll Friday, that kind of stuff. So I would come in at 7 and work all day, and then go do a 3-hour radio show, come home from that, or come back to the office from that, and then go set up the screens and the overhead projector across the street at the local hotel to run Financial Peace University that night. Those were 16-hour days. And my wife will tell you those days she was a single mom for a while. But that ran about, I guess at that schedule, it was only about 2 years. Mm-hmm. We were able to get critical mass, and then quickly I wanted to delegate some of that. And so anything I could get off my plate that would allow me to be freed up.
So honestly, we're almost done with this clip, but this spoke to me so much because right now I am trying to let people into my bubble. It started when I was editing my own videos and I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for a year. How am I going to survive keeping doing this while still being able to produce the content? So by going with Dylan's able to actually edit me 3 videos a week. I try to bring you the best content I possibly can, pushing this content back to you, trying to get, I'm looking at better thumbnails these days. I'm looking at better content. I want to take better photos. I want to do better things to do that. So it allows me to think more instead of spending my time editing. So yes, it's an expense, but Dylan frees up my time, and I would love YouTube to actually make the money to be able to pay that editor. It does some months. I'm letting Brett in my bubble to help me do my real estate and to be my assistant and to help me with all these avenues of my life. And so I'm learning how to train and to delegate and to let someone take care of a task. And when they don't handle it properly, I don't beat on them. I don't fuss at them or belittle them. I just show them. And if it's a big enough mistake, I'm like, hey, look, we need to take this as a learning experience. Because if this happens again, this is bad. No, sir. And so we don't have many of those major mistakes. He's a very intelligent human, and it's helped out a ton. By getting a bookkeeper, I have now gotten my P&Ls, my profit and loss statements brought to me every single month, every single week if I ask for it. I know who hasn't paid their rent. So if I need to, I go in and send a follow-up text. And when you're getting a text from me, you know it's serious, because if you don't give me my money, I'm going to have to start processing your eviction. I'm going to have to changing this up. Give me a solution to our problem that gets rectified in a timely manner, and I got you covered. I'm still me, but I have policies and procedures now. I'm growing and I'm doing. I don't really notice a difference as far as the income because I have all this. There's still a ton of polish that has to happen. Just a thought, like, I have inspiration from this clip. I loved this clip in the actual video when they were talking about this. And if you go watch this video, there's so much between Graham, whoever that guy is that's friends with Dave and works with Dave, and then of course Jack. It's an awesome video.
And because I don't mind hard work, but I do not want to set up something that's not sustainable. And working like that for 20 years means you don't have a family.
Yep.
Working like that means you lose your health.
So here's another one of them getting a little bit more into good debt. Graham just wants him to be over here saying good debt, good debt, good. Say it with me, Mr. Dave. Good debt. Now I think Dave Ramsey is Graham's long lost grandfather. That's my opinion. I also understand that Graham loves debt, Dave hates debt, but Dave is talking to the everyday investor that can't control themselves. Me and Graham like to talk about it to people and tell you this is how it's better, but you got to control yourself, and you have to be able to have that understand, that stomach for when things go wrong, and that's more risk, right? The riskier the reward, the heftier the profit. Or if you just risky too much, then you're just dumb, stupid, right? Rice and beans after that. Let's watch Graham Stephan and Dave Ramsey's Iced Coffee Hour clip on good debt.
Do you say debt is bad because for the average person, that is a good principle to live by? And
Good
with
job,
that,
Jack.
I kind of agree with you. However, if people do utilize debt in an effective way, such as Graham, he's very responsible, very well researched on the markets and how he can.
He's going to say Graham's unique. He's not. Having extra thought process, we need to quit downplaying the thought that goes behind business, the thought that goes behind a good idea. We need to encourage people to use their freaking brains, and they can sit down and start reverse engineering what they want. I want to be a millionaire, so I need to be able to save this much. I can't save that much, so I want to be a millionaire in this much time. Okay, cool. Now I've got this much time. If I don't start for 10 years, then I got to save this much money again because I'm running out of time. Reverse engineer what you want. Find out how to get what you want. Find out what you want out of life and spend the rest of your natural life going after it. That's an Eric Thomas quote back in the video.
Leverage his money with debt. Do you think that that is a more effective way to grow fast if you're calculated with it?
It is a more effective way to grow fast
And
if
slow.
that's your goal.
Oh.
But what people leave out of the discussion
Because what he's going to say is something snarky about debt. But he did just say you can grow faster with debt, but you will feel better when you pay it off.
is that you've increased your risk exponentially. More debt equals more risk, period.
And only paying cash means you might never get out the gate, okay? Understand, 3% down, 3.5 to 5% down to live in it, right? If it's a commercial property, 10 to 20% down to be able to get that deal done. Yeah, you got to have good credit. Sorry, right? Pay your bills, right? Oh, well, Grant, I have the medical bill. I get it. Get a co-buyer. Figure it out. But I'm telling you, and getting a co-buyer is dangerous. You're marrying them financially. So I'm just telling you, debt is not a bad idea. It's not. It's just not. If used responsibly.
After I went broke, I had to analyze and go, okay, what went wrong here? And because I had never lost money on a flip. I was not behind on the notes. They just called them. They had the ability to do that because it was commercial paper. It wasn't traditional mortgages. It was 90-day paper. And
which what Dave used to do was you buying crypto on margin. Super volatile. Not a smart idea. Can you even do that? I don't know if you can buy crypto on margin. I have never tried that. But I'm telling you, Dave was doing the riskiest of the risky. So if Dave would have done it the right way, I don't think Dave would have the same outlook now, but he'd be worth a lot less without the educational program that he made off the baby steps with don't go debt, pay this thing off, your life is better, you're more comfortable. And he's not wrong, but it's harder that way and it takes a lot longer to get started. Find out what type of investor you want to be and then listen to Dave still, regardless if you like debt or not. There's still a million things you're going to learn. Same thing for Graham if you don't like debt. You can learn anything from anybody with a big enough set of ears that you're willing to listen with.
so what it amounted to was, I had proven track record of making money. I mean, I probably owned 2,000 pieces of real estate in my life. And so I was doing a lot of flips. And some of them I was doing in 24 hours. I would just buy them and flip them to another investor and make 10 grand and keep walking, that kind of stuff. So, but I was doing 100% finance.
Wholesale houses.
I didn't put any money.
I got some people that harass me with wholesale houses. I still look at every deal, but they are such cringy deals. Like, that thing doesn't have a roof. They're like, oh, but it's great.
Not a dime. I didn't have any money. So I talked a guy into giving me a 100% deal on this house. I flipped it. I made 10 grand. Hey, and I talked him into doing it again. Then I talked him into doing it again. Then I talked him into doing $1.2 million and with that one bank. And yeah, so it set me up. And so after I crashed, I kind of had to go through a CSI, an autopsy and go, okay, why did the patient die? And so because everything I was taught, I grew up in the real estate business. And when you're in the real estate business as a profession, one of the rules is they take your risk meter out and they sit on the table and they break it. So you have no ability to perceive risk because everything's good, everything's going up, and it always works. And the mythology that just because something worked once, it's always going to work every time. So I had to go through kind of a healing of my heart in that regard and go, oh, wait a minute, this is risk. Wait a minute, OPM, other people's money. Yeah, it's kind of got that get-rich-quick slimy vibe to it, and all that. But there are people that more intelligently than that, use debt. And so there's a spectrum there. But even those are taking on risk.
So let me add something to this, because this is a great clip with so much in it, and I'm telling you, link in the description below for this video. Dave had a bad experience with real estate being the riskiest of the riskiest ways to do it, and then he got rid of debt. He didn't get rid of real estate though. Think about that. So because he had a bad experience, he went with this cascade, this crusade against debt, saying no more, and it worked out great because he made a great program with great financial morals, and it's doing amazing, and it helps so many people. I love it. It's a help them, they help me, it works. I lost money in the stock market, turned $7,000 into $45,000 when I was 18 years old, 19 years old in the Great Recession. After losing that money, had a bad taste, but it was because of me. I only like to really invest in bear markets while consistently investing in stuff I'm not looking at every day. And then what ends up happening is I stayed out of the stock market for 10 years. Well, if I'd invested in the stock market for those 10 years, I missed the best 10 years of growth the stock market has ever seen. Crazy. From 2010 all the way until 2019. Crazy growth. And guess what? I got back in the stock market. 2020 happens. Boom. A little mini apocalypse, right? 100-year event no one ever saw coming. And I made $505,000 right here on this channel through the stock market. The stock market's not bad. Margin's not bad. Me being irresponsible is bad. Me not knowing enough is bad. So I have accountability. I did not say, don't buy the stock market, don't use margin. I said, don't let this happen again. The next time the stock market crashes, and I'm going to consistently invest until that happens, that's my Super Bowl. And if I don't ever crash, great. I made consistent returns, and then my Super Bowl was 30 years later. I have this. Learn from your mistakes. Don't hide from them. Don't run from them.
And so when you have,
Getting a little ranty.
Buffett says, when the tide goes out, you can tell who's skinny dipping. So when you stress test with an economic problem of some kind, outside variable or inside variable, inside your organization or your life, inside your portfolio, or the economy, like a quarantine type thing comes up, or inflation or recession, and you stress test your theories, you can tell who's skinny dipping when the tide goes out. And
he's talking about over leveraged.
If your theories don't last. And so the only one I've ever found, and this comes back to my faith journeys where it started, the borrower is slave to the lender. I can find nowhere in Scripture that debt was used to bless people. And so then I got to think, okay, do I believe that, or do I believe my academic training? I've got a degree in finance, and I know how to run an IRR, and I know what the IRR looks like with debt and without debt. And it's not nearly as good unless you're leveraged. But you can run an IRR through the roof with leverage. Guess what's left out of the IRR calculation? There's no math inserted for risk. The IRR is agnostic to risk. It doesn't recognize it. And so while you see this great rate of return, there's zero risk showing up in there. The chance that you lose the thing, or the chance that the stress brings on your life, or what it does to your marriage, or what it does to your body to carry around the weight of that. None of that is parlayed into there. And real estate is unique in that way because other investment vehicles teach us to mathematically insert risk. For instance, two mutual funds, you would never compare an aggressive growth stock mutual fund with a growth in income, okay? And if you look at the chart, the growth in income is kind of like this, and the aggressive growth is like this, right? And that's the risk factor. Yeah. And the highs and lows on that.
Winning, losing, or winning, losing, and not taking until you sell it. So, yeah, that's my portfolio, by the way. I've got so many losses, but so many gains, and I take the gains when they come, and I try to wait out the losses because I can afford to, and I never invested more money than I should have, even though sometimes it still stresses me the hell out. He's not wrong.
Y'all probably know this is called, for our audience at home, the rapid change is measured by a thing called a beta. And a beta is a statistical measure of risk. It's a math number. And so a beta of 1.0, for those at home, means that particular mutual fund is exactly what the stock market is. It's S&P 500. It's doing what the stock market's doing. A beta of 2.0, it means it's twice as risky. So this is an aggressive growth, emerging market type stock fund portfolio. And so it's...
I wonder what AMC would be today as far as risk.
A post-risk analysis. We don't do that in real estate. No one ever talks about that in real estate. It doesn't even come up.
Talk about it all the time. All right, so we have one last clip that I want to watch right here for this video. and I'll give you a few more thoughts, but it's Dave Ramsey's unique investing plan. There's a couple other things. The way Dave has meetings, absolutely beautiful. And there's so much more in this video. But for this one's sake, I want to keep it nice, short, and sweet. Power up that like button. Let's get into this video. I think you enjoy it.
Where do you see the opportunities today for most people? I know you're talking about expanding, but I would say for the average person who's maybe concerned that home prices are going to go down, maybe they believe that, or they believe that, stock prices are still high, things are going to crash. My job is going well, but where's the next opportunity?
No, short term.
I have so many thoughts on this. So many thoughts on this.
Where the next opportunity is. But I do know long term, I'm buying mutual funds and real estate. That's what I do. And that's my personal wealth building plan. It's not really complicated. Why? Because I'm pretty dadgum sure that an 80-year history in the stock market of the economy getting stronger and stronger, those companies continue to make profit, and that profit results in value of those stocks going up. And over time, we're, as a grouping, the stock market, the what you're saying is the American economy going to permanently go down and stay down? If you say the stock market's going to go down and stay down, that's what you're saying. And that, I just don't believe that. And it's not weird. It's just there's an 80-year track record you can look at and go, didn't happen.
I agree.
Went down here, came back up. Went down here, came back up. Went down, with quarantine, dropped, through the floor, and then was back 18 months later, 6 months later, whatever, was back up to where it was. So, I'm just going to continue to invest. It's just long term. I just, I got in the real estate business, as we said, in 1978. I mean, come on. And so, and those houses that I was selling then, don't you wish you owned all of them? Oh my gosh, for what they're worth today.
Oh, of course.
So Dave Ramsey's investment is that simple. He likes real estate. He likes to put his businesses inside of his own real estate, and he buys mutual funds. Doesn't like individual stocks. He wants that consistent growth. Now, understand, at this point, we take away like, wow, this dude's really successful. He's been investing a very long time, and he's still going with that consistent, steady growth. Dave is a very conservative person when it comes financially. Graham is a very big blend between Dave, me, and himself. Graham is going to be conservative with the ability to go, you know what? Here's my bet money because I still have the heart of a gambler, but I have the soul of a saver. So what happens there is Graham still buys mostly mutual funds. I feel like he's making a mistake getting away from real estate, and Dave does too. I've noticed that in a lot of these conversations. And then you have me. I will buy individual stocks, but I still diversify that portfolio to be like my own little S&P 500, but not 500 companies. I buy them that are undervalued or things that I think will come back. I am also taking a lot of risk. I'll buy 2 or 3 in that sector just to make sure that that sector, if it completely goes away, then I lose that money. But most chances are that's not going to happen. And as far as real estate, I believe the money's made on the deal. I am still very heavy in single family, multifamily, but basically rental units for someone to actually have an apartment to live in. I need to get more into commercial to diversify that portfolio. I know that for a fact. I need to do more mutual funds to have more consistent growth every single month, every single year, and over the years. So that way I have that winning, my individual stocks winning, and be able to take these profits on long-term capital gains versus short-term capital gains to just keep making that less taxable income for the future. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed the heck out of all these clips. You should go back and watch that video once again. Link in the description below. Hope you have a fantastic afternoon. I 100% believe in you, and I'll see you later. Bye.